Apologize for not being on Monday like we thought we would, but my schedule and Eliza's schedule conflicted, and we just couldn't get the video done on Monday. This was budget week in the State House, so it was a very busy, compact week for me. Melissa Tilden asked in response to what we put out a couple of weeks ago, what percent of the total budget goes to education, and a breakdown on K-12 and higher education. How many earmarks are in this year's budget for public education, and how much of the education budget is cut off, or is a lot of it cut off at the top for administration? Well, Melissa, the entire education portion of the budget is about 33.9%, and that's not the highest one. The highest is healthcare at about 43.6%. So education is a huge chunk, but not the largest. When you combine those two, though, it leaves very little for the rest of state government. K-12 is 14.7%, higher education is 19.2% of the total budget. If you take a look at the big picture of all education, though, and factor in local funds and federal funds, it becomes the largest expenditure in the state. Locally, in Lawrence County, over 70% of your property tax and local tax dollars goes to public education. So when you combine all the taxes that go together, it's a significant amount, very significant amount. By comparison, law enforcement, including corrections, is just a little over 3% of the total budget. So we do put a lot of money, a great deal of money into public education, especially when you take into account libraries and everything else that are associated with public education. You also ask if a lot of it is not cut off at the top by higher administration or by administration. Yes, a great deal of it's cut off at the Department of Education, and I think that department should be streamlined considerably. Earmarks, you ask about earmarks for education in this year's budget. There were none. As far as I know, there were no earmarks in the budget, period. R.T. Moore, you ask about H3665, which is our gun licensing bill. And we're a little disgruntled by the way that the hearings went. Just realize that the subcommittee hearings and the entire hearing process is a process of compromise and change. Nothing ever crosses the finish line like it starts, especially in the wording. It's give and take as it goes through the system to get to the final results. And sometimes the final results may not be quite so obvious. So the positive thing is we are working toward a good bill. It just takes a process to get there. You didn't waste your valuable time in coming down, because citizen input is greatly needed in the process. We will follow up with more questions, more answers as we go along into the future. If you like the way we're trying to approach this, let us know. And if you have other questions, feel free to post them on my Facebook page, and we will respond as we can. Thank you for staying tuned and for the response you've given so far.